Hello, welcome back to the guild, and I just pressed the refresh button. See, I'm using OBS to record these videos, so like the the hotkey that I use is Control Shift R, and that turns out to be the refresh button for the browser as well. So it's kind of interesting. Anyway, if you're here, you probably know I am. I'm Muzi, Grand Alchemist of the Guild, and if you've made it this far to lesson 1.3, well done. You know, you can give yourself a pat on the back or something. I don't know. I can't even do that. Okay, I can apparently. So yeah, we last time we spoke about n8n. You know what it is. It's history. How to actually start thinking about it because it really is a powerful platform. Now we're going to be talking about something I think equally crucial. Um, so it's effectively just installation and setup, right? If you're here, then you're not just here to learn, you're here to build, right? And so if you're here to build, then you need to understand how to set things up, right? And that starts right now. Disclaimer, I'm not going to show you how to set these up, right? I am going to link videos in the description. If you're finding this on YouTube, if you're finding this on WAP, it might be like in the in the chat or something. I don't know. But yeah, this is not hands-on at all. This is just me telling you, hey, you can do this. You can find the resource here. You can do this. You can find the resource here. And yeah, that's basically just me going to show you how you can set up n8n all by yourself, whether you're working locally on the cloud or using Docker. And trust me, I used all three of these, so I know how like each one of them works. So now, before we jump into like the actual commands and like anything else, you need to pick your setup, right? As I said, this is the local installation where you like test things out on your machine. You're going to be installing it through the the CLI or the command line, I guess you could say. There's the Docker web setup where you download Docker, the Docker desktop, and then you set Docker up, to effectively just host n8n, and then allow Docker to host to like put the website up in its own server. So if you're running Docker, you're probably also running WSL, so Windows Subsystem for Linux. So that's something that you're probably going to also have to download. Again, I'm not going to show you any of these. You can find the links in the description. So yeah. So these three, and then there's also the cloud installation, where it's effectively just remote access. So I graduated from each one of these. So for the local install, it was great to test out. I set up Docker just so that I could have like a clean kind of way to do things. But for the cloud, it was a great way to like scale because I wanted to use active workflows to do things online, and it was just the greatest way. Like I wanted remote access and I wanted to scale automations to grow my business, so that was like the most useful thing. So yeah, if you're new, you should probably start local like I did. This isn't really anything, like you can just delete it after you're done. Don't delete your workflows though, like just download the workflow JSON files and then upload them into like the new system, whichever system you're using. But yeah, if you're familiar with Docker, then maybe start with that as well. It's a bit more technical, but personally I went on and I just hosted things on Google Cloud, because yeah, it was a nightmare to get going at first, but like as with anything, this is just a learning curve, right? You're gonna suck before you stop sucking. Pun is not intended. The pun was very much intended. Or okay, let's start with the local setup. So we have this guy over here, very locked in, and he's doing things locally on his laptop. What he's doing here is effectively installing Node.js, right? Node.js, if you don't know what that is, it's just a I guess it's a framework for running servers on your local computer, or on a server, I guess you could say. So any server probably has Node.js on it if it's running JavaScript code, right? So I know for a fact because I was coding in React a few years ago. So, and I still use JavaScript to this day. for n8n, workflows. Like, I think understanding JavaScript like as a base is very important if you're handling JSON, and you're handling JSON in automations like all the time. So yeah, just to get Node.js, you just need to visit nodejs.org and you download the LTS version. You just install it in your computer, and then you should have it up and running. I think Node.js comes with npm as well, so you can start like getting packages in. So yeah, Node.js comes with npm. Npm is the Node package manager. It's effectively just the kind of the framework for allowing you to download packages that are in the cloud, basically. n8n is one of these packages. You can install n8n using npm, right? So you can go to the command prompt and you'll type npm install n8n-g. The -g stands for global, right? These are just like things, like as I said, I have Node.js, like I've been using Node and like just JavaScript and like all these npm for a really long time. So yeah, after installing n8n, you can just run n8n. Like you can literally just go into your sort of like your command line, just say n8n, and then it'll run on your localhost on the port 5678. So you can go to the this bar over here and just type localhost 5678, and you'll have n8n running there. So that's pretty cool. But then again, like, understand it's very intensive, like on resources on your computer. So this will slow down your computer. That's actually one of the main problems that I came across, right? Yes, it was great having n8n running locally, but at the same time, if I am trying to like do things and then somehow my computer starts lagging, it's not very scalable, as you might imagine. But like, once you have it running, you're officially in the game. So well done. Now the next one that I graduated to was using Docker, right? So I wanted something a bit cleaner, something that wasn't going to mess me up like with the file systems or whatever. And Docker was like the next big step, I guess. So I downloaded Docker Desktop from www.docker.com, and I just installed the Docker Desktop, right? Docker Desktop is very easy. It allows you to do things without like understanding the command line. And if you do understand the command line, you can do some really interesting stuff. Like, you can basically start a sort of command line or PowerShell, I guess, since I'm on Windows. You can start a PowerShell instance inside the Docker, and then you can run this type of code, right? Docker run -it-rm-p, and then this is sort of instantiating the port. This -v is instantiating I think it's the version that you're trying to pull. So yeah, there's also another kind of like type of instance that you can run, which is called Docker Compose. So you can do that for persistent data, which is very useful and very great. Yeah, you have to understand though, like, if Docker is running, then it's probably running on Windows subsystem for Linux, if you're on Windows, right? That means that it's not actually sort of hosting things on your Windows. It's hosting it on a subsystem that has its own file system that is running like a version of Ubuntu. By the way, if you don't know what Ubuntu is, like, you can just find out. It's very famous. Everyone loves Ubuntu. So yeah, then it's the third version, right? So remote access, right? Once you want to start scaling now, you can see this guy, he's very logged in. That's probably because he's scaling. That's probably because he's running automations for other businesses, and he's doing it on the cloud on his own sort of, site. So you can use n8n.cloud, right? So to do that, you can just go to n8n.io. They offer a bunch of pricing options. I think the cheapest one is about like $24 per month, and that gets you 5 running executions, like 5 active workflows per month, along with like 2,400 executions per month, which is like quite a lot. So if you understand how the other guys do it, so like charges you based on the actual nodes that get executed in your workflow, but this charges you based on the entire execution. So you can have a crazy, sort of like huge workflow, but it'll only charge you on the single execution every time you execute. So this is like the one great thing about n8n.io that I think is very underrated. Or you can self-host, right? There's platforms like Render, Railway VPS. Like I've seen one for Render. It's actually very simple to set up. Like it allows you to just download the n8n instance in the cloud, like, and then just set it up. You can even set up the DNS and everything like all by yourself. I self-hosted mine on Google Cloud. I'm gonna share a link. Like all the links for like all of these kinds of setups are going to be in the description. So don't even worry about it, and just like whatever is very comfortable with you, just do it. But understand that these are sort of scaling up in complexity. So it's much easier to set things up on your computer, but you get like the sort of the downturn of it slowing down your computer and maybe not giving you the scalability that you'd like. But on the other hand, right, you can do things on the cloud, but it's much more difficult to set up. And if you're doing it easily, like through a service-based thing, like Render or DigitalOcean, then you still have to like pay your way forward. You're always paying something, right? It's like that thing that I heard recently from Iman Gaji. It's like if we're all going to the same destination in life, some people are walking and some people are getting in cars, right? But everyone is paying something, right? So if you're walking, you're paying in terms of time. It's going to take you more time to get there. But if you're in a car, then you're probably paying money. But you're going to get there quicker, but you're probably going to pay money. So you always pay something. Just find out what you are willing to pay and then just pay it. So each has its own quirk, but yeah, the full guides are going to be in the description, so like you don't even have to worry. I might put like real sort of like I might put like full guides where I go through these kinds of like setups by myself, but that might come at a later time in the course, so like don't even worry about it. Just know that these are possible. So yeah, no matter where you install n8n, you have to sort of set things up properly. So the one thing that I've found very useful is using .env files for sensitive data. So like this is, think about your credentials. So if you have some API key that you want to store on your local computer so that you can just call it somehow, you can use a .env file to store that, and then you can just call it in your workflows, which is pretty cool. You can set up folders for organizing workflows, right? So like think about using, one thing I do is I use tags. So I tag my workflows so that they like if one workflow has something to do with content or it has something to do with a certain project I'm working on, I can just search based on the project and they all come up. Another thing that you probably need to do is you should probably back up your .n8n directory locally, and this is because since n8n is open source, whenever there are updates, right, it's going to tell you. So it's going to tell you, hey, you have 4 updates that you need to make. What are you gonna do? So you could choose to like not update, but if you don't update, then you stand a chance to like miss new features that are always getting added on, like new nodes, new connections to services. So you should update, but if you're going to update, it might wipe your workflows, right? So you need to back up your .n8n directory locally, just so that you can save your workflows, so that once it's done updating, then you can just plug those in again, and bada boom, bada bing, you're back in the game. And yeah, like as I said, just use tags and like just organize things, workflows, credentials, backups, like just organize everything, and you should be fine. So yeah, when it comes to troubleshooting, you might run into like certain number of errors, and again we'll go through this like over time, so like you'll see these more often, but I just want to put them in your mind right now. So basically understand that errors are nothing more than like problems that you just need to solve. Basically they're just puzzles that you need to just put together in the right way. And that's effectively just what we do here in the guild. So one main error that you probably will find often is the command not found. So command not found, you might find this if you didn't install things properly. So when you install, say, Node.js, what it needs to do is it needs to update the path variables in your computer. If you don't update the path variables properly and you just try to run the n8n command, it's going to fail. So you need to update your path variables, and that, like, with a bit of research you can figure out how to do it. But yeah, the system path is very important. So another thing is the port 5678 in use error. And this one, you just basically just have to close any apps that are on the port and then just run like a certain command that basically says, I only want n8n to be on this port. And then another thing is the permission issue. So once you're sort of like, maybe because like this is one error that I faced while setting up on Google Cloud, like especially I was trying to sort of download Docker so that I could Docker compose and then just push things to the sort of like, I could create my n8n instance just like that. It doesn't allow you to run those commands unless you use sudo. So you could you use sudo, which I think it stands for something like super user do. So yeah, you effectively just position yourself as a super user, and then you go ahead and you run commands that change the system. You're the admin, so you can install and run anything you want. So yeah, and there you have it. You finally unlock the gate. You finally have n8n running and live on your machine or on the cloud or like anywhere you want. And you've taken your first real step. Like if you follow the videos in the description, and if you do things properly, if you ever like get any like questions or something, just like feel free to ask. I'll totally handle them, but and I'll totally help you out in anything that you might need. But this is like, you've taken your first real steps into the automation game, and you're no longer just a passive observer, right? You're someone who's pushing the buttons. You're someone who's playing the game. So one thing I can say is that this is only the beginning, because at the end of the day, what you've just done is basically you've gotten the thing that you need to use. You've gotten the tool. Now you need to actually start digging. You've gotten the shovel. Now you need to start digging. You've gotten the pickaxe. Now you need to start using it. So in the next lesson, we're going to be looking at something you might find interesting, and I'm just gonna keep it to myself for now, but it's something you might need to like take your first steps into building your first automations. Until then, keep experimenting, keep building, simplify, scale, succeed, and remember, you're not just learning automation, you're becoming the architect of your own machine, of your own life. Welcome to the guild.